Ready Wammo Breakfast, 12 minutes past 9.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
And now we're off to Paris for the advertising, social media and aeroplanes feature with Vaughn Davis from the Goat Farm, tgf.co.nz. Hello to you, Vaughn.
Bonsoir.
Yes.
As they say around here.
Live from your hotel room in Paris. Of course, 2 weeks ago it was Austin, Texas. Last week, Venice Beach. And now over there in Europe. What are you doing?
I'm on a whistle-stop tour of advertising and social media conferences, and for the last 2 days I've been at a fantastic but sort of lamely named event called Marketing 2.0, which is put on by one of the big business schools here in Europe, and it's honestly the best social media event I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Room full of heavy hitters, small audience, maybe 300-400 people, compared to the 15,000 at South by Southwest. Absolutely brilliant. Highly recommend it.
I'd imagine a lot of creative people. Surely someone can come up with a better name than that, because it sounds like a snore fest just from the name.
Yeah, it is a bit of a dodgy name, but it's sort of proudly amateur and proudly unprofessional in terms of the way it's run. It's run by a university business department, but it just attracts the coolest people. There's people here from Intel, from IBM, from Xbox, right down to there's a guy I met who's a pizza franchisee who somehow made a name for himself on the social media circuit. Amazing.
Oh, very cool. Well, let's crack on into some advertising and some innovative advertising as well. Something that Westpac are doing.
Yeah, this was really, really cool. This is something that it's cool for a number of reasons. Firstly, because it's not an ad, and I think the future of ad agencies lies not in just making ads and putting them on the TV or whatever, but in coming up with innovative business ideas for their clients. That's the first reason I like it. The second reason I like it is they didn't even come up with it. They saw it somewhere else, and they're I guess humble enough to borrow it, present it to the client, and go with it. It's called the Westpac Impulse Saver. And do you want to play the little clip that leads up to it?
Yeah, I'm playing a little bit now from a TED conference. Who's this guy talking?
Oh, I've forgotten his name. It's probably, but he's Rory Sutherland.
Rory Sutherland.
He's a big swinging dick at Ogilvy, which is an arch rival of Colenso.
Okay, and we'll listen to a little bit of this.
People make decisions, and the very nature of the decisions changes. Obviously, I don't want people to do this, because as an advertising man, I tend to regard saving as just consumerism needlessly postponed. But if anybody did want to do that, that's the kind of thing we need to be thinking about, actually. Fundamental opportunities to change human behaviour. Now, I've got an example here from Canada.
He's talking about an impulse button, isn't he?
A young intern at Ogilvy, Canada.
Yeah, he had this crazy idea. This is at TED, and TED, if you don't know about it, is probably the premier ideas event in the world. And this guy came up with the idea sort of off the cuff and hoping that, it would never happen, sort of tongue-in-cheek, of what if there's a big red button on your wall, every time you push the button, you'd save money, so impulse saving. Well, the people at Colenso in Auckland had a look at this and thought, well, what if there really was, and maybe not on the wall, but on the iPhone. So they came up with this. And you can see down the bottom there, there's my Westpac Impulse Saver icon.
A big red button on the iPhone there. Yep.
When I push it, oh, hey, there's a big red button. What do you know? And once that's set up, all I've got to do is push that, and $5, $10, up to $50 will go into my, from my Westpac check account where I can spend it, into my Westpac savings account where I can't. So really nice idea, and a really good example of the way that advertising agencies probably need to point if they're to do well.
You tempted it all just to sit there, tapping, save, and suddenly you've got no money to spend.
Yeah, it would be tempted. It'd be a pretty cool thing if saving became as addictive as spending. I'll be interested to see how that rolls. It's only been out for a couple of days, and the market will tell, I guess, if it's a great success. And I guess the advertising awards juries will tell if it's a great success. It's clearly been some of the video around it's been pointed in that direction.
Indeed.
Hey, advertising awards. It's the Access Awards in New Zealand tomorrow night. So all the agency people around town will be dusting off their frocks and tuxes and getting ready for a big night, so I'll be interested to hear how that goes.
Okay.
But the big news in New Zealand advertising is actually a global story today. An Auckland boy called Mark Darcy. Now, Mark Darcy, I met him. He was formerly at Young and Rubicam, the agency I was creative director about the same time he was at. And he moved from advertising into a really cool role at Time Warner, where he was, executive vice president of content or something like that. And he has just now been recruited as the worldwide chief creative officer of, drumroll, Facebook.
Wow.
So we've got a Kiwi ad guy in charge of advertising creative content on Facebook. So that's really, really cool news, and really good move for Mark, and good move for a New Zealand ad guy.
Cool, big thumbs up for New Zealand talent. Also, you've been looking at something called Share If You Like.
Oh, this is interesting. This was one of the presentations at the Marketing 2.0 conference. Share If You Like. It's sort of an innocuous... You've got the German version up there. An innocuous title for something that, depending on how you look at it, could be seen as completely evil. Share If You Like is a portal that recruits bloggers, tweeters, connected people, so long as you have a sufficient number of followers or readers, offers you content, so video or blog posts or whatever, and pays you to pass it on to your friends. It's a marketplace for content, and I'm thinking it's going to be pretty popular with advertisers. You see down the bottom some of the people have already got on board: Unilever, Mercedes-Benz, Adidas. They're realising the power of content that comes peer-to-peer, and they're trying to jack into that. Of course, the question is, what happens to your credibility once it becomes clear that you're being, paid €5 per tweet? It's sort of Charlie Sheen on a very, very small scale.
Yeah, effectively it's paying you to spam your friends, isn't it?
It's exactly what it's doing, yeah, but paying you to spam your friends would not be a very good URL. Might not get as much traction.
If it was really honest like that, it might take off, if it was just blatantly honest.
That's a really good point. If every little post was tagged with, I was paid to spam you, maybe a bit of honesty might go down well.
Yeah.
But, no content currently available for sale in New Zealand. I registered and checked.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, any final thoughts there in Paris and your experiences of the beautiful city of love?
Oh, the city of love isn't so lovely when you're on your own, Mr. Williams. But no, I'm looking forward to getting back on the succession of aeroplanes. I have to put up with 2 RICO safety videos to get home.
No.
I'll close my eyes and think of England. We're not even going to talk about the Richard Simmons one, are we? No, we're not.
Well,
I think there's been enough.
Yeah, I suppose there has been enough. Well, I don't know. I think from what I've seen so far, there's been more talk about the Rico one than the Richard Simmons one. But that one has only just come out, yesterday or the day before, featuring Paul Henry as well. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, it does. Worth having a look at the NBR website on the ad and media section. They've got I think they were somewhere north of 95 comments the last time I looked, and there's a lot of dialogue going on about that. So interesting to see how long New Zealand stays the course on that. We'll see. But that's me. I mean, I'm loving Paris. It's one trivial but important detail to me I've noticed is the bike system here is fantastic. They tried that rental bike thing in Auckland and it failed. Yeah. Bikes here, magnificent. They must have spent millions on infrastructure. It's all automated and electronic and controlled by your credit card. But by God, those bikes are a good way to get around.
That's the thing about a mature city. It's that's what you can get. We are juvenile over here. Juvenile.
Well, there's little pockets of what's the adjective? Juvenility here in Paris. And on that note, I've got a special audio sign off for you. Some of you might have noticed I'm in the only part of my hotel room that has good lighting. On that note, I'll reach around behind me and goodbye from Paris.
Vaughn Davis there joining us in Paris.